Happy New Year, everyone.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning for you. It's afternoon and evening for some of us. Hello, Antonio. Happy New Year.
Hey,
Michael, David,
hi everyone. Hello.
Dominique. Good to see you all. Everyone have a good holiday? Mr. Cobb?
Hello, Carla. Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Good.
you look
Yeah,
somewhere cold. You must be home.
I am home.
That rarely happens.
Yes, it's true, but it's definitely a little chilly here and getting chillier. That's all right.
My dad sent me pictures of his back deck today covered in snow, and I just like, it's a
Yeah,
slide left a long time ago. Don't
that's
want to see
right.
that white stuff. It looks pretty in a picture, but I don't need it in my backyard.
Right.
Oh, exactly. All right. Mr. Bennett, any announcements? Anything as our current president that you would like to say before we get started?
Only that here we are in 2025. Time flies, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Yeah. Your presidency is half over now.
Not that I'm counting the days, but yeah, you're
Exactly. So, all right. Well, I am going to get started. I am Carla Raymond Kidd. All of you know me, but for anyone who is watching or is going to watch this later, I am the immediate past president of FIABCI USA. We are FIABCI First Friday, and our guest today is going to be Janet Chojnowski, who we're very happy to have with us today. She is the pioneer leader in the SaaS platform tailored for the global real estate industry. She is the founder and CEO of emobell.com and has dedicated her career to advancing international visibility, seamless referrals, and operational efficiency for real estate professionals and global brands. So Emobell delivers cutting-edge enterprise SaaS platforms designed to support global fair housing and diversity initiatives in the real estate sector. And these solutions are available in 19 different languages and empower real estate organizations to expand their reach, their Unity operations, and maintain brand consistencies. Right now, Emobell platforms are used by companies like Sotheby's, Century 21, ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, Cole Banker, Corcoran, and many different associations around the world in about 80 different countries. So we're really excited to have her here to talk about her global brands today and be able to display the multilingual and cross-border content that she delivers. So I invited Janet because, believe it or not, Janet and I have known each other for 20 years now. So I was thinking about when I got started in global, and it was 2005. And I believe I was at a Miami real estate conference, and there was something going on with Miami. And here you are. And back then there weren't a ton of tools, right, for the global industry. So this was just really, really amazing what you did. Emobell, and Janet's going to talk about it, but it was a great platform that it was just an HTML plugin that you would put on your site, and it took all your listings and it would turn it into, I think at that time it was 11 languages 20 years ago. But even then it was just so wonderful to be able to have something like that. And I used it as a listing tool when I would go in and I would say to people, oh, so here's just a flyer. So you would see what your listing would look like in Chinese or in Russian. And then I would even print my bio and take it to conferences if I knew I was going to a different country or I was going to meet someone from a different country just to have that icebreaker. But Janet, talk about where it went from 20 years later, right? Here we are, and this platform is still around and amazing.
Thank you, Carla. Yeah, that was a nice walk down memory lane there. Yeah, so we did, I remember when we were really proud of having 6 languages and 8 languages. We service generally 21 of them now worldwide with some different varieties of Chinese, and we have Latin American Spanish and European versions of that and French. So over the years, we've really expanded it at the request of clients, and in particular, some of the enterprise brands that we service. If anybody's familiar with century21global.com, you can see the platform at work there in an enterprise situation, serving listings from 80 different countries, all of them available in 21 languages. And the reason that we do that and that it's different from any of the AI or Google Translate tools is that this really gets indexed by the international search engines because they look for content in their own language that's going to serve the needs of their searchers that they're expecting to receive and host. And Google, there are 165 Googles around the world, and each one of them is programmed to serve a geo area and a language preference. And so, if you go and look at your home market in a language that's not your local language, let's just say we went and looked at Malibu, California right now, but we decided to look in Italian. Normally if you do that in English and you're in a US market, you know who you're going to see. You're going to get Zillow and Realtor.com and all the usual suspects. But when you go and search for that market in another language, the landscape completely changes. And what you will see then are websites that have been programmed to show that language for that location. And it really narrows the competition. If you're trying to attract international viewers and investors, or even in your domestic market, but they're using another language, you can really set yourself out in front of the whole pack there when you are operating against 3 or 5 other people who have the translated sites versus when you're in your local language and you're operating against all the big portals and just about every professional in your market. So that was the premise by which we started to grow it. And it really turned out to produce leads for the big brands in a way that exceeded their expectations. And it's kind of, flowed from there. It's a real way to get differentiation.
Yeah, I remember, I believe it was offered through our MLS at the time.
Yeah.
So we were able, there were different packages, but it was so nice to it was so easy just to download this, and you had this nice little brand of flags on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone was looking at your listings, and maybe they saw some great pictures, but really couldn't understand the verbiage of what the house was about, they would just click on the flag of their country or their language, whatever was
Yeah.
applicable at that time. And it would completely just change the entire website so that they could read everything about that house in Italian and German and French. And it was just a brilliant platform for so many people, for those of us who were working in that industry where we were working with people who English wasn't their first language.
Right.
So it just made it so much easier. But now this has kind of blossomed into like so many other different cool things that you've been doing. And, we run into each other every once in a while and I get all these great updates, but you have something now called Zomeo. So Zomeo, I know, includes what we've just been talking about, but you have some other whistles and bells that you're doing now through the SaaS platform, right?
Yeah, so we've really gone into 2 major platform directions. So Immobel being the parent company, but Zomeo is the sort of the sub brand. So if we want to think of Apple having a Mac and an iPhone, so Zomeo being our Mac. So that's the website platform. And from that, we build agent level sites, office, company, all the way up to brand, and even, major portals in some locations. And we can customize those to show, any set of listings in any set of languages that they would like to have it shown in. And again, the global SEO being the thing. So you were mentioning, Carla, that you could have the flags on your website and change the language if they were there. But the real trick of it is getting them there in the first place. So if they don't know your web address and they don't know who you are and they're searching in a market, our secret sauce is we'll make sure that they find you and come to that website. And having followed a certain language into your website, they continue to have that whole experience in a language consistent way all the way through the tools, through registering, through favoriting, through getting alerts. Everything is going to be language consistent for them, but with your branding, your contact information, your listings, your featured listings, and so on. So yeah, Zomeo is probably our, fourth or fifth generation of web platform now. And it's, mobile first. It's got, all the uh, WCAG compliance and it's got all the, as you said, the bells and whistles. We put everything we knew and had learned into this and started with a new platform there. And along the way, when we were working for the major brands, and we did this in Miami as well, 20 something years ago, I came across an old press release where Miami was making referrals with France, with FNAIM, which was the
Oh,
partner
yes.
association
Mhm.
at the time. And that was a really pretty basic platform, but also multilingual, and it would let people connect, make referrals, track that situation, and gather some information about how it was going. And over time, we've expanded that referral platform. Now it's used as, the core platform for the major brands you mentioned, Sotheby's being the first one who launched it. And then, Century 21 and Coldwell Banker and all of them on, and Coldwell Banker coming live this summer. But already now we move about between 7 and $10 billion a year in referrals across that platform for the brands who use it. So it's really had some road testing. And then the last couple of years, when the MLSs were starting to make data share agreements between themselves, for the purposes of encouraging cooperation across markets and across borders as well. We sort of rebranded one instance of the referral platform. It's called MLS Match, and we already have on there California CRMLS and their 110,000 members, Miami Stellar MLS in the middle of the state with their sort of 85,000 members.
Right.
We have 4 or 5 others of the majors coming on now. So probably in MLS members, we have about 350,000 of those on today, and another probably 200,000 coming on by the first half of this year. And everybody can do cross referrals between different channels that are willing to participate with one another, which ultimately gives a footprint that really can't be matched. I mean, there's just about no country now that you could send a referral to where you wouldn't have some people on the other end of it eagerly waiting to make your acquaintance. And everybody in there is already pre-connected, so you don't have to invite them to work with you. Everybody who's in there is able to work with one another. And, it's secure, it's tracked, everybody agrees their fees and, execute an in-platform agreement. And it's worked well, and it's been working in the market for about 12 years now. So we're really proud of that one. I think it met an actual need in the market that really, it's been taken up and it's used, all day, every day.
If you look back where Global started, when you and I started getting into this 20 years ago,
We
and
we
how it's
invented
just,
it, I think, Carla. There was no such
well, I don't know about
thing.
that, but we certainly embraced it. And, I like to say, some people jump in with 2 feet. I jumped in with my entire body and got, wet up to my head. But how that's turned into like NAR tracking global and the president's liaisons and people just getting very excited about all these cross-border transactions where, I'm sure they were happening, but no one was really embracing it, let alone chasing it, right? They weren't going after it. And
Yeah.
now so many people, it's just normal. Like every company throws global in their name or, they talk about global where I remember 20 years ago, no one was talking about global. It was like,
Yeah.
so you do what? Oh, yeah, I do this. I go overseas. And why do you do that? And then all of a sudden, now everyone understands. And so I think that's so wonderful as to how that has morphed your business and created a little bit of demand, not only from little, one people like me that, now into whole companies, but MLSs as well. So where do you see, like, how did that develop in your eyes?
I think reality just finally caught up with the market. It's because the statistics have changed, but not that dramatically. Online users who are searching and consuming content in English language, that's less than 28%, and it's been between 28 and 30% for years now. But somehow most real estate professionals, because they didn't see a convenient way to deal with that piece of information, just ignored that piece of information. And so while you saw McDonald's coming with bilingual, drive-through menus, and you saw, mortgage lenders coming with multilingual sites and, all the things, but real estate somehow just clung to the idea that if we do this in our local language, we're going to be okay. But you're missing a lot of opportunity that way. And I think from 2008, when the market became more challenging for a while and people decided they would look a little further. And then in recent years, because NAR started to publish the statistics of how much international investment there was, and that was attractive. And then, diversity, and then became an undeniable fact. In some markets, that's the primary language is not going to be English. If you live in Los Angeles County today and you go home at night, there's a 72% probability that you are searching online and consuming television and other media in a language that is not English. So ignoring 72% of Los Angeles County, if you're in the real estate business, is insane. And so at some point, all of these things started to come to bear. And of course, the brands with the disposable revenue and with the intel to back it up said, we're going to grab these pieces of the market while they're on the table to be taken. We're going to establish our beachhead there. We're going to get our brand known. We're going to get those leads in our CRM and start to work them. And that's what they did.
Mhm. And we even see now with your MLS match, this brands in general were just referring in-house to like companies that they had, Sotheby's to Sotheby's, right?
Right.
But what if there wasn't a Sotheby's in another country? Then how do
Exactly.
you find someone to send that referral to? And that's kind of been this conversation that's been going on within the brands. And MLS has started to pick up on it, I think. And now you see, just because of how the industry has shifted and what's going on with MLS looking for different ways to differentiate themselves and bring in partners from different countries to build their MLS. So
Yeah.
Stellar, for example, which is my MLS, it's not just certain areas of Florida. They've added North Carolina. We have like the Atlanta area. We have Puerto Rico that's in our MLS, and they are actively out seeking other people just to bring that connectivity so that a platform like MLS Match, that's part of the membership benefit of that MLS, is there where if I need someone in Chile and I don't know anyone, I can just get in there in my MLS without doing anything else online and looking to see. And that whole referral form is just tracked within my MLS system. It's brilliant. And I just see
It's
this
tracked
keeping
you
moving forward.
SSO into MLS Match right from your MLS dashboard, and everything is tracked in there. And the MLSs like it, and their legal departments love it because it's privacy compliant, it's GDPR compliant, everything is tracked, it's date and time stamped. Any action in there, it's capturing the IP address, who did it, when they did it. And so the era of these kind of Facebook referral groups and things is coming to an end because nobody's errors and omissions insurance can bear up to that. We've seen, the blistering effect that class action lawsuits and lawsuits can have right now. And handling, personal information and data is really a hot potato. And as well, being able to indicate that you did negotiate freely what your referral fees were going to be and how that's going to be managed. It became super important to the MLSs, the brands, and the broker members at the MLSs too, that they have that transparency for anything that's happening under their umbrella, that if they need to answer for it, they can answer for it. And so platforms that provide them with that archival history, that tracking, and that transparency have become really critical in the industry in any event. And also what we're talking about global, but of course global includes the length and breadth of your own country too. And since the pandemic, we see that in the US, moves are much further than they used to be. People would move within their own hometown from one side of town to another. They would grade up from one suburb to the next. But now they're far more likely to move more than 100 miles away. And so we see more and more MLSs where their members, are waving goodbye to their local clients very often because they're making a move to the other side of the state, to the other side of the country. And they didn't have any way to leverage that relationship and earn a referral fee for sending them on to the next stop. But MLS Match gives them that tool. So members can benefit with inflow of new arrivals, of course, and they can benefit when their existing client relationships buy or invest in another market. They can do that very, very easily. And from the perspective of the MLS and other organizations, they get all of the statistics, so they can answer this question of, what have you done for me lately? Well, as an MLS or an organization, I can show that I produced X number of millions of dollars in inflow revenue for you. I facilitated this many referrals for my members. I generated this much revenue and referral fees for my members. And that trend is growing, or this is our feeder market. So the way that the statistics now can be sliced and diced and used, that was developed by demands of the brand, really, as we started working with Sotheby's and then went on to the other brands. They wanted to use it in their franchise marketing. They wanted to use it for franchisee satisfaction. And it turns out that it works really well for organizations in the same way. You want to attract your members and hold your members, and being able to show them independent statistics of, well, what am I getting out of this? In this day and age, that's also become a really important tool. And it's also a tool that lets people, not only look in the rearview mirror of how is the industry going, but you can look into the crystal ball 60 and 90 days out and say, this is where demand is coming from. This is what people are asking for now. Prices are going up or down, or they did want condos and now they want houses. So it gives the opportunity to really position your efforts for marketing, for networking, for outreach with new, partners that you want to cooperate with. It's really put tools in the hands of the industry that we didn't have before. We didn't have that level of intel. And until the platform is used by enough people, you can know some things, but it's not as reliable and representative as it becomes when you're handling the magnitude of flow that goes across this platform now. I mean, this is the largest referral platform on earth. There's nothing else that comes even close in the amount of transactions that are flowing through it and the statistics that are being gathered. And so as the networks begin to connect with one another and we start to have a network of networks, the footprint is just, it blows my mind. And when I tune in to look at our dashboard sometimes and I see, a day's worth of referrals, it's just like, I can't believe it, we really got there.
Sure. No, that data is gold, and that has been the key, I think, to what so many companies are missing, and the reports that we can give. So if an MLS like California MLS can go to their state and say, hey, look, we have had 6,000 referrals passed, and 20% of them came from this particular country or this particular area, then the state can say, oh, I know now. Thank you for giving me that data. Or they sell that data to them, right? And now we know how to plan for economic development and where we need to build the airport and things like that. So there are so many ways that this can go now that dates
Absolutely.
are much more trackable. But we do have a couple questions, and I know we only have a few minutes left, and
Okay.
I want you, if we have time to show a little video, you have too. But Antonio from Portugal was asking about the platform and does it enhance SEO if you use eMobile?
It does. Yes, because these are not machine translations that occur when somebody's actually looking at your website, but this is translation that's in effect in the metadata all the time. So if we have a website that's in 20 languages, actually there are 20 websites, each one with its own language, coding, metadata, and everything in it. And so that gets indexed by the search engines. If it's in Spanish, it's indexed by search engines that are looking for Spanish. If it's in Chinese, it's indexed by those looking for Chinese. So yes, it absolutely, the main purpose we serve is attracting that international traffic or that other language traffic. So if someone is searching in Portugal using German, then you want to attract them by having, all of those links littered around the German language internet. And this is how you do it.
Any other questions? You can unmute or put it in the chat if you'd like. Evan, I see you kind of like leaning in. Go ahead.
Chomping at the bit. Well, thank you so much, Janet, for being here today and providing us with this information. But so I'm just curious, are your customers primarily nationally known brokerages, the brands as you've been referring to them, and multiple listing services, or do you actually offer your services to individuals?
You know, if we're speaking about the referral platform, this isn't a platform that you can just rock up to and pay $9.99 and come on in. Because part of the real value is that everyone in there is a credentialed professional, you know where they came from, you know who they are. So we sell the referral platform to organizations, brands, MLSs. Someone like FIABCI could buy in on behalf of their members. And if we knew who the members were and we have, a unique ID to reference them to, then that serves the purpose. But individuals are not able to just, find it and pay a fee and come in. There are some networks that support that, but we do not. That's one of our really important differentiators. So on that one, no. On the websites, the problem with every website is first you have to get the data, and that's easier said than done. So we need a data feed that can serve the needs of enough people that we could sell websites to, or a major website to make that pencil out. If one agent needs a data feed from an MLS, the MLS is going to charge a lot of money to provision that data feed, and it's not going to pencil out for an individual agent. So a lot of these things are not that we are unwilling, but just that market pressures make it impractical in some ways to just offer a product the way that you would like to. But we ourselves, we have no problem with providing the services to any, qualified organization. If it's rational and we can get the data and we have the control, then, that works for us.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, thank you. It's a very interesting idea, offering up to our FIABCI members. That's something we'll look into.
Awesome. Well, we'll get some more information, but did you want to run that eMobile video real quick before we end? And
I'll see if I can play the Zomio video. Technology is great when it works and challenging when it doesn't, but let's see what we can do.
And it looks like I already got somebody that's offered to get a demo from you and coming from Portugal. So Thank you, Janet, for showing that. So, Dawn, I know California has that whole MLS match on the back end in their MLS, like we do here in Stellar in Florida. So, if anyone's interested in getting their MLSs more to track the referral platform, I'll have Janet's information. It was sent to everybody who registered. We're going to have this on YouTube up within a week or two. And Janet, if you can come back on screen, that would be great.
I am trying to, but
Okay,
if somebody can unshare me, I seem
there we go.
stuck
Perfect.
in sharing.
There was just one last question. If the demo is the demo in Spanish by any chance?
It is not right now. We're producing some things because one of our clients for MLS matches, of course, Omni MLS down in Mexico and South America.
Right.
But right now we have, guilty as charged. Our marketing is primarily in English as well, even though our products are not. So it's easy to fall into that trap, isn't it? But yeah, I don't have it in Spanish, but yes, it is a need that we have for sure.
Excellent. Any last questions? I know we're running just a little over time here. All right, Janet, you just want to throw your contact information in the chat for everybody, please. If you
Sure.
know anyone who is looking to expand their global marketing, this is a great platform that they can use. It definitely for a website and to help you with listings and to get more business. But Happy New Year to you all. We are so happy to see you. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next First Friday. Janet, thank you for being with us today, and so good to see everyone else.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Carla.
Thank you, guys. Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Janet.
Happy New Year.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thanks a lot.